What's up, YouTube? Winterguard here. Today we're going to get into some crafting. This is actually my second crafting video, but I'm going to get into a little bit of the nuances and tips and tricks you might need to know before you do any crafting. So we're going to touch base on that before I get into the crafts themselves. So indulge me a minute. We're going to touch on a couple things here because what we're going to do in this video, I'm going to craft some caster amulets. We're going to re-roll some charms, some large charms, or not large, grand charms. We're going to re-roll a diadem, a rare diadem, to see if we can get better stats on it. And we're going to gamble some coronets. So we're going to touch base on all four of those things just briefly, and then get into the crafts and show you what I was able to get or not get, and kind of go from there. So first off, I'm going to get into a simple one first. We're going to talk about crafting grand charms. Now the goal of re-rolling grand charms, there's a very small chance, granted, that you can roll a skiller charm with up to 45 life. And this is not going to occur on all grand charms. There's only 3 item level grand charms that can re-roll with that much life on it, and that is off Baal, Neolithok, or Diablo. Now both Diablo and Neolithok drop eye level 95 grand charms, which you can't see eye level items in D2R. There's some mods in some of the modded games like Project D2 that will show you the eye level directly on the item, but for D2R's sake, the only way to know for sure is if you use the charms directly off of those 3 bosses. So when that occurs, the eye level's high enough so that the affixes that roll on the charm can go up to 45 life. Now you can still reroll other charms and get up to 40 life. I believe the minimum eye level on those is level 72. I'll double check that and put it up on the screen. But that will only go up to 40, so kind of the goal is to try and get one that gets up to 45 life, which I have personally never re-rolled. I've gotten some pretty high ones, but not that high. So I got a couple of Baal grand charms that I'm going to roll, and with the hopes of getting one with a skiller with high life on it. So the next thing we'll talk about is crafting caster amulets. Now the recipe for that is a amulet, just a magic amulet. It can't be a rare. It has to be a blue magic amulet, a perfect amethyst, a rerolls, and just a junk jewel. Now the jewel can actually be rare, but any level jewel will work on that. Now the trick to this is you want an amulet with a base eye level of 88 so that it will roll all the possible affixes, because what you're trying to get is a +2 skill with up to 20 FCR, faster cast rate. That's kind of the goal. And it can roll, I think minimum is 5. It'll always roll fast cast rate on it, but I think it's a minimum, lowest it'll go is like 5 up to 20. So you know, if you hear somebody talking about a 220 crafted amulet, that's what they're talking about. But the trick to this, to guarantee that you get an amulet of the appropriate minimum level, you want to try and start doing this at where your character level is 93, because not only does your character level affect the roll of the craft, when you're trying to get the amulets, the only way to guarantee amulet is that level is out in the field is if it drops off of, again, Diablo, Neolithok, Baal. There's a couple of others to get to that minimum 88, but I prefer to gamble them. And if you gamble them off a character that's at least 93, you will always get at least an eye level 88 amulet, because the way it works, when you're gambling, the eye level of the item is going to be minimum minus 5 your level, so 93 minus 5, 88, and then it will roll up to plus 4 your level, so a 93 will have up to a eye level 97 amulet. So the minimum level you want to gamble to guarantee the eye level 88 is a level 93 character. So you can take some chances with this. Like I did some at 92. So since there's no way to actually look at the eye level, I mean there was a chance that I had some eye level 87 amulets, but my chances were pretty good that they were higher than that. So I went ahead. I mean I was loaded on crafting mats anyway, so I went ahead and did it, and I did end up getting a pretty decent amulet off of that. But just to guarantee the eye level of the amulet, make sure that you're level 93 if you're gambling, or if you're going to gamble the amulets from any of the vendors that gamble. And also, one trick to do this, just to reduce the vendor cost when you're gambling, you make an edge rune word in a 3-socket bow. And what you'll see is it reduces all vendor prices by 15. So that helps in the cost. And also, I have a 3615 Geeds, which again is another 15% reduction. So I get a 30% reduction in the cost when gambling. This amulet, without both of those, I think is 63,000. But with those two items, you see it reduces the cost to 44. So when you're doing your gambling, take advantage of that. And this also will apply to the next thing. When you're gambling, because I'm going to gamble some coronets as well. And why do I pick coronets? So you look here, and this is a nice little addition to D2R's ability to reset this without having to go back. Used to, you'd go to this screen, you'd have to leave the character, come back to reset what was here, but now they added this nice little refresh button. So this is pretty handy. So what you want to do is, and see, some people make the mistake of grabbing the circlets. The circlets are okay, but they will not, they don't have the potential to get every affix in the game. So I stay away from circlets and I go to coronets. So the thing with coronets is they don't guarantee every item, but you can gamble these. I'm already out of cash, and I'll show you when I gamble these. But if you buy a coronet, there's a chance of it being a coronet, a tiara, or a diadem. So if you've done this before, you'll know this. On occasion, this will spawn over here as a tiara or a diadem as well. Now the diadems have the highest chance to get all the affixes. So I mean, of course, what you're looking for is at least +2 all skill for whatever class, and maybe faster run walk, resist, plus life, plus mana. You can't get FCR, I don't think. I'll double check. I'll put it up on the screen just in case I'm mistaken on that. But the idea is to get the +2 all skills to whatever class, faster run walk, high life, high mana, resist. You could get sockets potentially. So I only spend money gambling on coronets, and only for amulets when I'm going to actually craft amulets. That's the only gold I spend when I'm gambling, is those two items. As you're leveling, I mean, if you're gold rich, and you're going to hit cap, I'm well before 93 multiple times. You could gamble, say, rings if you're looking for a ring that you just haven't found one out in the field, and you want to try and grab a ring that's better than what you have. That's usually a pretty good idea. Leveling, you can, pair of boots, gloves. Don't just sit on your cash and don't get capped and not gamble it. So make sure to, as you're leveling, before you get gold capped, look for slots where you're potentially needing an item. You can gamble that. But once you get up in high levels, and you're just gambling to try and find the top tier items, stick with the coronets, because that's potentially going to net you an item that's just way better than even the best unique helms in the game. It could happen. I've seen it. So try and spend your money here. Again, make sure you have the edge rune word, and try and get the highest reduced vendor price for getting the max bang for your buck, so to speak. I have multiple guides. This is not my best one, but it's the only one I have with 15 reduced vendor price, so I hang on to that specifically for gambling. And that's the reason why a lot of guys make like gold fine barbs. They are doing it just to try and gamble the coronets. So keep that in mind if you're going to start doing that. And you know, at some point you will get gold capped. So that's where I would sink the gold, is in the coronets, because you could potentially get a really nice one. So I think the last thing I was talking, diadems, re-rolling diadems. Now the recipe for that is, see, I hold on to these diadems. The reason I use diadems only, because the recipe is actually 6 perfect gems and any, is it magic? I guess you could potentially do that with magic. But I do, you can re-roll rare items and re-roll the stats on them. Now the reason why you pick diadems is because they will always have the chance to roll, well, they always have the chance to have all the possible good affixes. So as you re-roll rares, I believe the eye level reduces slightly every time you re-roll it. But since it's a diadem, it's, even if it does reduce, it'll reach a floor where it actually won't reduce anymore. And a diadem, again, will still always re-roll and have a chance to have the highest affixes. So I got 3 that just sit here. I don't know why I hold on to 3. It'll take a while to re-roll 1 into something good. And especially since the recipe is 6 perfect skulls, the recipe is pretty expensive, and it's hard to build up enough skulls to re-roll them. But you don't get that many rare diadems, so if you get 1, hold on to it and re-roll it with the 6-piece skulls whenever you get a chance, because you never know what you'll hit, and it could potentially be a GG item that if it doesn't work for the character you have, you could potentially sell it for a lot or trade it for a lot. So hang on to at least 1 rare diadem and re-roll it whenever you get 6-piece skulls. So that's pretty much it. We'll get into the crafting now, and I'll show you what I tried to get, and I did do okay, I guess. One of my Grand Charm rolls I maybe should have kept. I'll let you guys decide on that. I re-rolled it, and that might have been the wrong thing to do. So I'll let you guys tell me how bad I did in the comments. But if you enjoyed the video, give me a like and subscribe. Link for our Discord in the description. Join us there, and let's get into it. Okay, we're going to get into the ammy crafting first, and just double checking to make sure I have the right guides on. And what I'm just going to do here is just to show you guys how this shakes out. I go ahead and grab all the amulets I'm going to get for crafting, which I think is 30 for however many sets I have of the Rouse, P amethyst, and jewels. So I'll grab 30 amulets here, but then you need to double check to make sure, otherwise you got to run back and do it again, just to make sure that you don't have any rares mixed into this, because if it's rare you can't complete the craft and you'll have to go back and get another blue one. So I just double check to make sure I don't have any rares mixed in, and you never know, sometimes you might get lucky and hit a pretty good rare. I mean, it can happen. And I have actually gambled unique before. It wasn't anything special. It was like a Nokazan or something, but it was kind of cool to actually gamble a unique amulet. Okay, now I've got my first setup done. As you can see, the inventory works out perfect to hold 9 crafts at a time. So I'll start working through these. I'm not going to show you all these. We're just going to probably fast forward through this just in general. But as you can see, you can get a variety of things on there. What you want to shoot for, not these secondary skills for characters, but you want to actually hit the top ones like +2 Druid, +2 Necro. Try and shy away from the I guess like +2 Shadow Disciplines or +1 Fire skills for sorcerers. That you want to try and hit the top tier one, like that one with the +1 Barbarian. But the goal is to get +2 with max 20 FCR. Anything above 10 is actually probably pretty good. So yeah, you can if you get over a 10 and it's +2 skill and other stats are somewhat decent, I would definitely hang on to that. We're into the second set of 9, and as we're rolling through this, and I'll cut it off at this point, I don't really hit anything worth keeping. My last set of crafts, I actually got a really nice +2 Necro with FCR on it. It wasn't a 20, but I believe it was like a 12 or something, so it was a pretty decent one with other stats that made it really nice. To see like the +2 Lightning with 16, that one was okay, but if anything, I'm going to want a +2 Sork. So, and it didn't have that greatest stat on it, so I didn't keep it. So we'll just move on to the next set of crafts. Okay, now we're going to get into the coronet gambling, and as you see here, I'm cycling through looking for the coronets. Now, the thing to watch here, so don't click too fast. You can click those coronets, and eventually it will turn into a circlet. So you want to make sure you don't click too fast and accidentally grab a couple of circlets. And as you can see, we've already got a couple of tiaras, 3 tiaras, 4 tiaras. So that's what you kind of want to see when you're gambling coronets, is to get the higher tier tiaras and diadems. So you kind of got to keep an eye out. That's probably going to be your best bet to get a decent item, is when you hit one of those. It's not necessarily always going to be the case. The coronets can gamble into a decent item, but you just have higher chances with the tiaras and the diadems. And as you can see here, you get quite a few. I got 4 tiaras out of that grouping. And another thing, and a lot of people like to keep the blues, and you know, if I was hunting, if I wasn't kind of heavy on items already, just in general for different characters, I'd probably keep the blues that were like +3 skills, but I don't really need them at this point, so I'm just gambling for rares. See, and right there I hit a diadem. So that one I think I actually ended up keeping. It's okay one to start. It's level 67. It's +2 skills. I'd have preferred to have some run walk on that, and it does roll all resists, which is nice. So I hang on to that one. And as you see, there's +3 skills that pop in there, and when you're first starting and maybe you have another character, you don't really have a helm to use on that, you could potentially hang on to those +3 helmets just as a filler until you get something better. And yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't know. I've switched to a new video recorder, and I'm not sure if I like it yet or not. It's even just running in town, it gets a little laggy. Now while you're playing, it doesn't actually look like that. It's only in the recording itself. So I might need to switch that up. But I go through 10 million gold. I was gold capped. That Amazon one was really the only one I ended up keeping. So we'll move on from here. Okay, so I'm burning through my PGEMs now, I actually had a full inventory of these, and I hit this charm. Now, initially I hang on to this. This is max damage is plus 10 max. I think the AR goes up to 120 though. Plus 6 strength is pretty nice. So I hang on to that and switch charms. But I actually end up re-rolling it. So I don't know if that was a mistake or not. That actually was a pretty decent one. Again, it wasn't max, but I ended up re-rolling it, and actually I kept this one, and I probably should have re-rolled this one instead. But I was thinking in my head that if I did Ubers, this might actually be a good charm. As you can see, it's almost max life. It's 44 life. Max resist for Grand Charm is 30. So this is actually a pretty nice charm, but between the two, should I have re-rolled this one or the max damage AR charm? As you can see, I am really not sure what to do here, because I felt like the 8 max 69 AR was farther from perfect than the lifer fire resist one. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Which one should I have re-rolled? I think I made the right decision, but I mean, those 3 mods on a charm are always, it's just always nice to look at. But yeah, I ended up re-rolling the max damage one. I did get like a crappy combat skills barb on that when I re-rolled it, which I kept re-rolling. I didn't want. I have 2 or 3 of those. I just don't foresee me using those, so I re-rolled the skiller I got. But I still kind of kicking myself. Maybe I should just hung on to it and just farm some more charms. But I didn't. I re-rolled it. It's gone. So let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna leave it at that. Nothing else special came from these re-rolls, except for that one skiller, which wasn't good. So again, let me know what you think in the comments. There's the skiller. It's just a plain combat skills. So I continued re-rolling it. Ended up with nothing, but yeah, it is what it is. The max damage charm is gone. So I'm gonna leave it there. You guys have a great day. Keep on farming.